the 2024 Dodge Charger Daytona SRT Banshee. That's a lot of words. It's the first EV from Dodge, and there's a lot of things I want to talk about in regards to this vehicle and where the industry is going. Let's get to it. Today's Lethal Garage video is sponsored by none other than Lethal Garage. Check out our custom flex fuel kits using OEM parts direct from GM. Check it out at lethalgarage.com. What's going on, guys? Matt Everett here with Lethal Garage. And yes, for those of you looking closely, I have a black eye. I got in a fight with an exhaust for the 71 Lethal Classic. Look for that install video coming soon. But yeah, it got me good. It got me good. So, Dodge has revealed some details and actually has shown off the first concept vehicle of a Dodge Charger Daytona SRT Banshee. God, that's a lot of words. That is a lot of words. But that being stated, a lot of people are talking about it. I had a lot of people message me, Matt, are you gonna do a video? You're gonna talk about this content? And normally I don't do videos around cars that are not Camaro. I mean, obviously I've included some over the years. I've talked about Corvette or compared Mustang, etc., etc. But in this instance, I think it's important because Dodge is the first company to transition a nameplate that was technically a muscle car back in the day. It's arguable that the Charger, when it first came back, was a muscle car. I don't think it was. They kind of transformed it into one, but neither here or there. That being stated, they're the first company to transition a muscle car nameplate into the EV space officially, technically. The car's not available, it's not launched. Technically, it's coming out in 2024. And what we've seen of it, here's a few pictures, is it looks like a classic Charger mated with a Camaro and a Tesla and kind of has a little bit of everything. Dodge did a really good job coming out when they revealed it, talking about what they're targeting, how they're targeting it, why companies are moving away from cars. I believe they had, their statement was 4-to-1. So there's 4 SUV or utility style vehicles sold for every 1 car. And if you look at the market and where the industry has gone recently, it's true. Almost every major car dealership, unless they've only sold cars, they're moving to SUVs. They're moving to UV style, you know, ultra compact SUVs. Like there's a million of them. GM, obviously the Mach-E from Ford is like a shining example. Dodge just released, I think it's what, the Hornet. I really don't care about SUVs or small UVs and the EVUVs. Like there's all the UVs. I guess what they're calling this car is a spacious CUV. It's a car utility vehicle. Interesting. But there's a couple things I want to unfold here that, dare I say, excited. Dodge has taken the first step to introduce a car that doesn't look like an electric vehicle. Yes, it looks modern, it looks futuristic in a sense, but it doesn't have all these padded off panels or solid panels in the front. They actually found ways to tie in a grille to bleed into aerodynamics. Like the upper grille literally allows airflow to go across the hood and up over the car and all that stuff. Like, great design choice in keeping a really cool looking front end, unless maybe I'm not understanding how that front end works or looks, but it doesn't look like an EV vehicle. It doesn't look like a big chunk of plastic that looks terrible. Almost every electric vehicle I've seen released to date, you know, they don't have motors, so they don't need cooling for radiators and all that stuff. So, you know, all that stuff gets blocked off and it just hasn't looked right, in my opinion. I think they nailed that. Does this car look like a Charger? Yes. I've seen a lot of people, looks like a Challenger. If you go back to the old school Chargers, no, it looks like a Charger. It looks like an old school Charger, 2-door coupe, which is a very popular old school muscle car that is very desirable today. So they paid a really big homage, like from the doors forward, and then the back, I have to argue the back, the rear end, I don't think looks great. I think it needs some sort of spoiler of some sort. I know they've molded the body in a way. It just, regardless, I still think it's the best attempt to convert an EV style vehicle into a cool looking performance car. Now, Dodge has come out and said this vehicle is going to perform better than any of their Hellcats that are on the market currently. Does that mean the last editions? I believe so. If that's true, I'm expecting this thing to be really expensive. Like, Dodge has proven people are willing to spend a lot of money for performance, and it potentially will carry over. If you look at the Model S, which would probably be the direct comparison for this car from Tesla, one, I don't think the Model S looks as good as this new Charger Banshee, and two, the price point for even a dual motor, it's like starts off at $96,000 with no options added. So if Dodge is in that playground, or if they're somehow able to make it cheaper, good on them. Now, stop calling this a muscle car. Good God, industry. This is my plea. And if anybody is watching this video, I hope they watch just this portion of it, because this is my approach. Stop calling these electric vehicle muscle cars. Muscle cars are they're a rooted passion in your soul that is driven by the sounds, the smells, and the feel you get when controlling a car. It is something an electric vehicle can never deliver, ever. They just can't. Whether it's simulated sound that they try to get across, it will never deliver to the muscle car name, ever. And I think that is why people are upset. It doesn't have the sound. It doesn't have the feel. It doesn't have anything. Does it drive fast and launch quick and it's faster than its ICE counterpart? Yeah, but it's not a muscle car. It's not. So please stop calling these muscle cars. Come up with a new term. If you're gonna force these EV vehicles down our market, whether it's your choice or government EPA regulations forcing you to go down this path, it is marketing's choice to continue to call these muscle cars. They're not. They're not muscle cars. And I will even argue modern day Camaros and Mustangs, I think honestly Challengers are probably the only real muscle car on the market right now. Maybe now Chargers, since they've now updated them with all like the superchargers and all that kind of stuff. But even then, I mean, superchargers didn't really exist on the Chargers and Challengers back in the day, but we're splitting hairs at this point. Like, you know, Chevy and Ford did a really bang up job making the Camaro and Mustang kind of transform from the muscle car they were into pony cars, kind of a hybrid of a muscle, but kind of a hybrid of a performance car. And yeah, yes, they have the sound, yes, they have the feel, but they did their very best to kind of separate them from being muscle cars in the 6 generations for both platforms. And it's interesting to see that they did that. Like the 5th generation Camaro may have been the last of the actual muscle cars per se from the Camaro standpoint. I can even argue that Mustang in their 5th generation, I don't know their S, like all the Mustang guys, S550 I don't know the platforms, but you know, I believe the Challenger is probably the last of actual muscle cars out there currently being produced that has the right name and the moniker and what they deliver. Is it a little cushier than muscle cars were back then? Yeah. Is it a lot more expensive? Yes. But you can still get into a Challenger pretty inexpensive if you look at inflation and all that stuff today. But they're not. These EV cars, they're not muscle cars. And marketing teams, you're gonna start calling them muscle cars because your bosses want you to do that. But I have to give credit to Dodge in what they're trying to do. And not necessarily because they're doing it, it's because they're the first ones doing it and they're paving the way of doing it. Now, first and foremost, EVs are not for everyone. And for all the people out there that are tree huggers and want to save the world and hate gas-powered cars, you know what? More power to you, but you know what? We like V8 dinosaur guzzling cars, and we're always gonna have that in our blood, and we're always gonna want that. But you know what? At the end of the day, we are human, and some of us enjoy saving some money in fuel costs or stuff like that. And even maintenance costs, like in the prices of EVs make that negligible. honestly, and probably down the road having to switch out batteries and all that stuff. There's arguments on both sides, but at the end of the day, some people, regardless if they're muscle car fanatics or not, are gonna want a nice, comfortable daily driver that they can get to work and not have to worry about crazy gas guzzling, because you know what? I made my V8 gas guzzling drag car a drag car. Like, I can't commute to work with this car. It would cost me a kajazillion dollars running at the gas mileage that it gets. And it's insanity. So I picked up an EV car because it was dirt cheap, and it costs next to nothing to maintain, and it costs next to nothing to charge it in comparison to my gas guzzling truck that I got rid of. Now, again, I know not everybody wants an EV. They don't even want to see an EV become a thing. They believe, you know, I don't want to get into the minutia of all the stuff. I am not one who's going to sit here and tell you an EV is going to save the world. I'm not going to try to tell you that you're going carbon neutral. Like, I know for a fact all of the power in my area is generated by natural gas. Like, all the power that I'm getting. And where does natural gas come from? Like, come on, guys. Like, I'm not saving the world by driving this EV vehicle. So please, I'm not that guy arguing that. And Dodge has also come out and saying, hey, you know what? We looked at all the regulations. We looked at everything that they told us that we can and can't do. And this is the EV vehicle they don't want you to buy, because you know what? Making this car and charging this car is gonna be expensive. And more power to Dodge for doing that, and kind of even stepping out the gate and doing that. And it may be marketing hyperbole, but they've done other things in regards to this vehicle that kind of get me excited. Now, I don't know how good they are. I don't know if it's gonna feel good, but they're trying, or they have this, mechanical shifting, so you can actually shift the vehicle. I don't know what that's gonna feel like. I don't know how that's gonna work. I mean, electric motors are electric motors. They spin faster the more power you give them. So how are they gonna give you that mechanical feeling? I'll be very curious to see how that is and how that pans out for people. This power shot mode they have, where you hit a button and you get power for passing, or you wanna go drag racing or something like that. That's a really cool idea, but like, why does it have to be a button push? Why can't it just be stomp on the gas pedal and you get it? Like, it's very interesting, the dynamics they're going, and they're dancing around how batteries work, and they're trying to conform to a way that muscle car guys might think, but at the end of the day, it's still an EV, and it's not gonna deliver on the sound, it's not gonna deliver on the smell, the visceral feel, the vibrations, all that stuff. Like, the first thing most of us do is put an exhaust on the car because we want to hear that V8 louder, better, and this car's not going to deliver. And this fake noise they got going on, some people are talking about it, everyone's responding that wasn't at the event that saw the reveal. This fake noise over camera sounds like trash. It sounds terrible, and everybody's like, oh, it sounds so good, and the rumble and the grumble and all this stuff. Maybe it's just coming across because it is coming through speakers or whatever they're using to amplify this. It sounds terrible. And honestly, if I go to a car show and someone's sitting there revving this terrible fake sounding car, I'm gonna be pissed, and I'm gonna make fun of those stupid people for doing it. I hope they have an option to turn that crap off and you don't have to hear it. Like, it's not a muscle car. Stop trying to make a battery powered car sound like a car. You guys think you're gonna like solve the problem of this. You're not solving it. You're just pissing us off with stupid noises. And maybe I'm the only one who thinks this. Comment below if you believe it as well, but I don't think it's gonna deliver. I don't think that aspect is gonna get people excited, and I don't think it's gonna cause anyone to jump the fence and cross over and be like, oh, hey, I'm gonna get an EV because it's got speakers and the decibel levels are just as loud as a real Hellcat. The decibel levels isn't what we're excited about. It's the punch in the chest. It's the feel, the smell, the vibrations. Like, this car is never gonna have that, and it's frustrating that you marketing people think that, oh, because you're marketing it and it's got the noise and it hits these decibel levels, it's like, please, Dodge, that's fine, roll it out on this car, see how people love it. But Ford, Chevy, take some notes. Know that me as a V8 car enthusiast think it's the stupidest crap ever pushed forward to get us excited. Like, enough on that. Let's actually talk about this car. So this car is a concept. It's not the final production vehicle. So things can change, things will change, but there's some really interesting things that I think are really cool, especially being a guy who owns classic cars. I have a 70, a 71, I had a 69 Camaro. I remember those interiors. I'm dealing with these interiors. Like, they're old school, and some people like a muscle car, and this goes into the muscle car thing. The EV is not a muscle car. It's more of a futuristic something car. I don't know what we should call this thing. Futuristic EV or futuristic performance. That's borrowing a nameplate name. I don't know. But at the end of the day, when I see these cars, I think futuristic, and I get really excited with the interiors because they're gonna have big screens, they're gonna have lots of data, they're gonna have really interesting leather and lighting options and all this stuff. And I will say the Banshee delivers on all of that. From the seat view of that car, it looks amazing. Debatable in the steering wheel, but the interior wise, I love how like the center console is see-through on the bottom with the lighting and all like the cool technical stuff. And it's not stuff that you're gonna notice or see all the time. It's something that I think people will be really excited to see and get into, and hopefully the lighting can be changed to what you like and customization and all that stuff. But I think the interior looks really cool. I don't really care about storage in a car like that. Even me being a guy of a family, I have 6 kids, so 8 of us total with my wife, and there's no way they're all riding in that car, so I really don't need much in there. I have the Suburban for that. But at the end of the day, the interior, I think, checks a lot of boxes for people and gets people really excited. Exterior wise, it's completely subjective. Some people are gonna like some things and others. I'm gonna applaud Dodge here for the most part because the car looks, again, it doesn't look like an EV up front. When you walk up and look at it or see it driving by you in some of the videos that have been posted everywhere, like I wouldn't 100% go, oh, that's an electric vehicle. Now, obviously the fake sound, I'd be like, yes, that's fake sound, and yes, it's an electric, but the front end doesn't have that huge painted off panels and solid ugly crap. It looks like a genuine Charger. So I'm super excited in regards to that. The wheels, I don't like what they revealed on. They look like trash can lids in my opinion, but again, that's subjective, so I'm not going to subject you on my personal opinions. But some of these views are really nice, like the front view here, and I really like the logo and what they're doing, and the light up front, like all that stuff to me looks really cool. The huge panoramic glass roof, that's really cool. Seems extra dangerous, but looks really cool. I would probably hate that because I'm not a fan of sunroofs. Like having all that light coming in just makes the car hot, especially here in California with all the sun we get. That being stated, I don't know if that could be tinted, or I probably would have to tint that like super dark, just extra expense to add to the price of the vehicle. I don't like the tail end. I think they could have spent a little more time designing that. Felt a little rushed. Maybe they like it. They really had to swoop that Tesla looking rear end and make it kind of look like an old classic Charger. I don't think they succeeded there, but at the end of the day, the rear end's kind of the only thing that bugs me about the car. Everything else I really like. The fact that it's going to be all-wheel drive, I think is really exciting, and the fact that they've stated this car is going to be faster than all the Hellcats that are currently available, even at the weight with all the battery packs and all that kind of stuff. That really heavy glass roof seems impressive. So we'll see how this all pans out, what the cost is, what the actual performance level is going to be. I'm not going to try to get into the minutia of all the specs and all the different, like, I guess there's going to be 3 different options available and all that. Like, that could probably all change. Who knows what it's going to be. Maybe in the future we'll do another video on this vehicle if you guys enjoy this kind of conversation. But for anything, this was more of a video just kind of speaking out on, stop calling these things muscle cars. They're not. They're EVs. Muscle cars are something that's underneath that car cover. That's a muscle car. This is an argument if it's a muscle car. GM wants to call it a sports car all day, but you know, it checks all the boxes. The cost is the only thing that it doesn't check. And cost on these kind of vehicles have been going up and being insane, and really priced out the blue collar that these cars originally targeted anyways. So it's a weird argument to have. I don't know. I'm rambling at this point. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think of this Charger Banshee? Dodge Charger Daytona SRT Banshee? Like, that is way too long of a name. Just call it the Banshee. Charger Banshee. Done. Done. Unless the Banshee's the EV platform or something. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. This is what I think. Love you all. Thanks for watching the video. And until next time, guys, see you on the road.